Right, this is the second video on how to divide decimals. So when dividing decimals, make sure that the divisor is a whole number. In the first video, this was always the case. In this video, it's not going to be. So for example, if we've got 89.356 divided by 0.06, the divisor, the number you are dividing by in this case, is not a whole number. So this video is going to look at what to do if that is the case. What we do if this is the case, we need to try and make this divisor a whole number. So if I multiply this by 100, so if I multiply this number by 100, my decimal point moves 2 places to make that 6. So I have multiplied this by 100 to make this a whole number. That's okay as long as I multiply this one by 100. So my decimal place when I multiply 100 moves 2 there and ends up here. So I've now made this 8935.6. Now it becomes like the other video, dividing decimals by a whole number. So when we are dividing by a whole number, so we've got our 6, we've got our 8935.6, and we divide. We say 6 into 8 goes 1 with 2 left over. 6 into 29 is 4, which is 24, so there's 5 left over. 6 into 53 goes 8, that is 48, so there is 5 left over. 6 into 55 is 9, which is 54, so there is 1 left over. 6 into 16 goes 2, which is 12, so there is 4 left over. Let's add some zeros here. 6 into 40 is 6, which is 36, so 4 left over. 6 into 40 is 6, which is 36, so 4 left over. 6 into 40 is 6, so you can see that the 6 is repeating. Just remember, decimal point here. Then we need to make sure the decimal point is here in our answer. So 6 is in, the answer is approximately 1489.26 recurring. Well, that is the answer, but we're asked to 2 decimal places. So to 2 decimal places, if I write out a few more than 2 decimal places, it's 0.26666, blah, blah. So to 2 decimal places, 1, 2. I look at my third decimal place. It is above 5, so I round this 6 here up to a 7. So correct to 2 decimal places, it is an approximate because we're rounding off. It's approximately 1489.27. Just going over what we did at the start, because this is the new thing. If we are dividing by a non-whole number, we need to make that into a whole number. So let's look at a second example. This also has a negative in it, which we'll talk about later. But we've got negative 0.015 divided by negative 0.4. This divisor is not a whole number. We can make it a whole number by timesing it by 10. That changes it to negative 4. The decimal point moves over 1 if we times it by 10. So we also need to times this by 10, which moves our decimal point over 1, which changes this to negative 0.15 because the decimal point is now here. So our divisor is a whole number. So we have our divisor, the 0.15 here. I'm just forgetting about the 2 negatives at the moment. 4s into 0 goes 0. 4s into 1 goes 0. Carry over the 1 to make 15. 4s into 15 is 3, which is 12, so I've got 3 left over. 4s into 30, 7, 28, which means I've got 2 left over. 4s into 20, 5. 20 exactly, nothing left over. My decimal point comes up there, directly above. So my answer seems to be a terminating decimal. Now I go back and look at my signs, and I have a negative divided by a negative, which is a positive, which I can put there, or I don't need to put there. We know that those two mean the same thing. So what this video is highlighting is that we need our divisor to be a whole number, and if it's not, this video has shown you how to make it a whole number and then you divide like the previous video, dividing decimals by a whole number.